This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.
Today is Thursday, September 26th. This is the Affordable and Fair Housing Partnership. It is 6:02 p.m. And we are going to open with public speak time. Anyone here for public speak? All right, go ahead.
My name's Kathy Wazinski. I live at Overlook Drive. I wanted to sort of express, I think, what is a growing concern in the city regarding the potential development over at the Old Town Lodge to be anything more than rehabbing the existing building. I do believe that doing anything more than rehabbing the existing building will be a violation of the historic and agricultural nature of that project, and there is growing opposition to any significant changes over there.
I'm sorry, you said historical and
Agricultural nature.
Okay. Is there anyone else who wants? Are you done? I don't want to
For now.
Okay.
Thank you. It's hard to know without knowing what you're going to talk about. So,
Is there anyone else here for public speak? Okay. I don't have a quorum,
Yeah, we still.
so we're gonna have to wait to see if
Let's
see.
see.
1, 2, 3, 4. If Lindsay comes, then we would have a quorum.
Okay.
We'll have to wait because we can't do anything else.
What's our total number of?
Well, we have 9 seats. We have 8 members, so we need 5.
Gotcha. Is there a new member coming today? Do you know? Oh,
I think.
Oh,
Hey.
Chelsea.
Yeah, hi.
Hi.
cool.
You can sit at the table if you want.
Oh, is that what you guys want? I have no idea what's going on. So,
And we do have a quorum.
is it a quorum? Great. This is our first time doing this.
Welcome.
Thank you. This was, is it another way?
You can sit. Well,
Maybe I'm in the way of the
sit over
camera. I'll sit over there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Great. All right, and then Lindsay is on her way too, but now we have a quorum.
got my vaccination, but I'll slide down just in case.
Thank you.
Is there anyone participating remotely for public speak? I know someone else just joined us.
I am Donna.
Chelsea.
Chelsea, nice to meet you.
Ben,
Yeah.
nice to meet you.
I'm Jana.
Jana, nice to
Nice
meet
to meet
you.
you. You want to tell us anything about yourself?
I don't know what anybody knows. I'm new to the area, well, within the last year. I lived in Boston previously. I'm originally from Nebraska. I'm a therapist, mental health, and writer. I wrote a book last year and still recovering from that experience. Yeah, just really interested in community issues and social justice in all its forms. So somebody suggested that I get involved.
Great. Happy to have you.
Thank you.
Yeah, welcome.
Thanks. All right, well, let's move on to the June and August meeting notes that I sent this morning. Did folks have a chance to review them?
Yes.
Any questions, edits?
No, I thought they seemed like a good, accurate.
Having that meeting recorded is a helpful tool with
Yeah.
writing meeting notes.
Yeah.
All right, do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll make that motion to approve the minutes, August 2020.
June.
June 2020. Yeah.
Do I have a second?
Yes. Second.
Great. I think. I just took the agenda off. All right, so Joanna Stacy from city is here to talk about, give us just a brief update on what's happening up at Town Lodging. Those of you who were here last month, Jackie raised the question of if we could get an update, and I reached out to Jessica Allen at Valley CDC, who pointed me to Johanna.
Yes.
So I'm sorry, I missed the name.
You want to
Johanna
introduce?
Stacy.
Joanne?
Johanna.
Johanna.
Yes.
Johanna Stacy.
Yes.
Nice to meet you, Joanna.
Thank you. I was recently promoted to senior planner in the planning department. So prior to that was CDBG planner. So I've been coordinating the CDBG grants for the city. To that end, the city was awarded the CDBG fiscal year 24 CDBG grant to rehabilitate the town lodging house. That was awarded in early August. We have not yet received the contract, so it's a little hard to start too much activity at this point. However, there were CPA funds that were appropriated for the project to fund the pre-development work, which includes, pardon me, I'm getting over a cold, an archaeological sort of study of the property that was required by the Mass Historical Commission. The section of the property where the building sits is within a larger agricultural preservation restriction. So in order to, at this point, we would need to separate the two, the building lot from the rest of the agricultural preservation restriction. They're separated on paper, but not in plot. So currently we have
I'm sorry.
contracted.
I'm sorry, I don't understand. Could you
Oh,
go back?
yeah. So when the agricultural preservation restriction was placed on the property, so it's like a 55 plus or minus acre parcel. And there was a agricultural preservation restriction that was placed on everything but the 2+ acres immediately surrounding the building.
Okay, the building in this.
Yeah, so the building and the immediate area around it are not part of the APR.
Okay, so we would call that the curtilage in legal terms.
What's that?
We would call that the curtilage in legal terms.
Curtilage. Okay, I haven't heard that term. But yeah, there's an area that's excluded from the APR. And so at this point, what we're doing is we've contracted with Northeast Survey to do an A&R plan for that exclusion area. And so that will be a separate parcel from the rest of the parcel that has an APR placed on it. So that makes that distinction a little bit clearer. That need to get, MDR needs to sort of bless that APR.
Mass Department of
Agricultural Resources. Yep. Which oversees APR's agricultural preservation restrictions. Sorry, lots of acronyms.
Yes, okay, that's okay.
So at that point, it's a little bit clear what regulations apply to what part of the parcel.
So is the CPA money also doing that part?
Yeah, the CPA funds are funding the archaeological study, the A&R survey, and some amount of building maintenance in the interim.
Oh, okay.
So that funding has been appropriated already.
So what's the practical implications of that?
In terms,
How do you mean?
how do you mean exactly?
Okay, so there's a separate, so there's, this land is protected by the archaeological, preservation or the agricultural preservation. And then there's a section of it that is separate from that. So what does that mean practically speaking? Does that mean that the clearances for building is different on each parcel, or does it mean that you can't build on certain parcels? How does,
Yeah, so
do
the part of the
Name those
parcel
terms.
that's protected by, has an APR placed on it, there are a lot of restrictions in what you can do and what you can build on it.
Mhm,
The portion of the parcel that is not covered by an APR
mhm.
doesn't have those restrictions.
Okay. So as long as you're complying with whatever other conditions are set by zoning or conservation, you're allowed to build on that acreage.
Right. You know, you have to follow wetlands regulations, you have to follow.
Sure.
Um, the building is on the National Register of Historic Places.
Sure.
And so it also has a historic preservation restriction, which affects the way that it can be rehabbed. So it has to meet criteria and review through the historic preservation process. And the property also has an affordable housing restriction on it, which was placed, lots of layers.
Yeah, right.
It has an affordable housing restriction, which was placed on the property in the late 90s or 2000s, when there was funding from the state to do some amount of rehab to the building envelope. And so at that point, as part of getting the funding, the state required a affordable housing restriction. That is
Okay.
in place until 2030.
And can I ask, so who does the historical preservation review? And forgive me for all these questions, but this is all, I'm learning.
Yeah, no, that's okay. In all honesty, I'm learning also.
Okay, fair enough.
So Mass Historical Commission would do the review in terms of, they required an archaeological study to determine if there were any outstanding archaeological features on the site. That fieldwork is complete and we're waiting on a report. They will then make a determination as to whether any of the artifacts found are significant enough to warrant change in plans or
Mhm.
mitigation or
Further
restoration
preservation.
or something.
Okay,
Um,
I understand. Thank you.
Can you also remind me, is the proposed project to rehab the existing building and build a new structure, or is it strictly to rehab the new building? Or is it TBD at this point?
So the overall project is to both rehab the existing building as well as develop a new building.
Okay.
The grant funding that we have now is solely for rehabbing the existing building.
Okay.
The CDBG award.
The CDBG award.
Okay.
What was the amount of the CBDG?
It's a little over 600,000.
Is that enough?
Well,
Doesn't seem like to,
that's actually just for the design.
that's for the design. Okay.
Yep. Design and review and yeah, that doesn't include the actual rehabilitation cost.
And are there people living there now?
I'm sorry.
No one's living there right now. Okay.
No, the property was vacated in 2020.
And the second building that is, has been proposed in planning, is that within the same, plot that is not agricultural?
Yes.
Okay.
And my understanding is that it has to look historic, so it has to look like a barn, or it has to look like a building that would have been originally on the site.
Yeah, yeah. And that's something that the Mass Historical Society would
I
review.
think so, yeah.
And is there, I'm sorry to be so questioning. I feel like I'm just grilling.
That's why
people.
we asked her to come.
Is there a local representative on the Mass Historical Commission who is, familiar with this area or lives in this area or has some connection to this area that would be involved with that review?
That I don't know offhand. I imagine that there would be probably some involvement with a local historical commission.
Okay.
And I don't know what that would look like at this point, but as a historical building in Easthampton, I'm sure they would be involved.
Can you remind me what the total number of units planned is? Proposed?
Currently, the town lodging house was originally at 23 units. Now, some of those rooms were very small, they were like 8 by 10 feet, which isn't. So what's proposed is enhanced single occupancy units so that they would essentially be efficiencies with bathroom and kitchen facilities in each unit. So there's, in order to meet building codes, they would need to be bigger. So the existing town lodging house are proposing 12 to 15 units. And then those would primarily, due to the size of the rooms, would be single studios. The additional building that is proposed in the project would have 1, 2, and 3 bedroom units, so that it would provide for families.
I'm sorry, I couldn't quite hear you. 1,
2, and 3 bedroom units, so that it would provide for affordable housing for families as well.
And are those all affordable units or are those going to be a certain percentage of them based on?
They would all be affordable units.
Okay. And what does that? I mean, I think I know what it means, but I want to make sure everyone here knows what it means.
Yeah, offhand, I don't recall the breakdown. But the proposal that was put forward was that a certain number of units, so affordable housing would be, again, I don't have the exact numbers, but would be a median household income of 80%. Would be under 80% of the area median.
Okay.
But a certain percentage of the units proposed would be for very low and low income. So we're looking at less than 60% of area median income and less than 30% of area median income.
And just so everybody's clear, Valley CMC is the potential developer, not the city. So,
Yeah.
They are the ones making these proposals.
Yes.
And how many units would there be?
Total?
Yeah, in the additional building. Yeah, just one.
So in order to part of the drivers for how many units are proposed is the making the project feasible.
Sure.
And so believe it was about 30 units total between the town lodging house and the second building.
Okay.
I think that's kind of what is needed in order to secure the funding and
Yeah.
um, yeah, make it feasible from the financials. That has to do with, the state policies for tax credits, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay, I found the proposal. So the 23 current ones would become 12 in the existing building. Oh, the other ones.
So, oh, good.
They said it would have, well, if there's 12 there, then I think they want a total of 30 to become self-sustaining, so. I don't know.
Yeah, I
So
think 12 to 15, they might try to see
Yeah.
how many they can.
They won't get tax credits for less than 20, and it takes approximately 30 to become self-sustaining.
So that's at least 18 units in the other building. They can only get 12. And those are all gonna be studio apartments in the town lodging building, so depending on how big they are. If you got 23 units now and they're 8 by 10, then you combine the 2 rooms to make one single occupancy or SRO. Then you've got 12.
So if the report on the archaeological study shows that they have to make a significant change, does that change the use of like the CDBG funds would just,
And potentially it could, but that doesn't appear to be
what's happening?
what will, right?
Okay.
Don't expect any significant changes to the.
And then the design will be, I assume they can anticipate like what a Mass Historic might review for, so they can kind of like design it in a way that's historically sensitive, or
Yes, yes.
which I guess gets to Janice's point about making it look like a barn.
Well, I just remember
Yeah.
Jessica saying that like the additional building would have to look like a building that would have been on the site.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there's this timeline from before. It looks like we're on the timeline. The design development is now till December 2025.
Okay, yeah.
And then the historic reviews, including from the National Park Service.
Wow.
It's from the planning website, by the way, this.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
the current projects.
Yeah. Well, it seems like,
Timeline might be changing.
Yeah, I'm sure it's probably.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
haven't got the contract, so we can't quite send out the RFP
Yeah.
for architectural services yet.
Yeah, this is from
So-
March, so I'm sure it's changed.
But
The original reviews.
But the archaeological study, I think you said, was completed. You're just waiting for the official reports.
we're waiting for the official report.
But you don't think that that's gonna impact any of current planning or thinking?
Yeah, initially, it doesn't appear that anything truly outstanding or
This discovery.
Unusual.
was discovered. Yes.
And that's for both of those parcels?
So the archaeological study was only completed on the 2-acre parcel where
That you know you can,
because there's no development plans for the land that's protected by an APR.
okay.
So the archaeological study was limited to only that area that might get disturbed.
So does that mean that that land will all remain agricultural land then?
So the remaining 50+ acres will
Yeah.
remain agricultural land.
No,
That's protected in perpetuity.
yeah, great. There's no way around that.
I think it
there
takes
is
it takes an act of the legislature and the state. Yeah,
Oh, really?
pretty sure, yeah.
pretty firmly protected.
Good. I like housing, but I also like land. Well, thank you for answering all my questions. I appreciate that. It's really helpful.
Anybody else have any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you
Nice
for
to meet you.
coming. Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks for
What was your
having
name
us.
again? Apologies. Nice to meet you, Stacey.
Johanna.
Johanna.
Yes, feel free if any other follow-up questions.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Thank you, Johanna. That was really helpful for me, at least.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for the update.
Sure.
All right. Agenda. All right. Continued discussion of our draft memo to city council regarding zoning changes. Kayam, I'm gonna make you a co-host. Are you with
Okay,
us?
yeah.
Well, do you
Um,
want to be able to share the screen?
yeah, I can do that.
Okay.
No, I emailed Jana the copy to send out. It's just a couple small changes this month. I anticipate having like a more polished draft next month, like with the executive summary and conclusion sort of fleshed out. Let me. Here we go.
Okay.
Can you see that?
Yes, but I'm gonna change hold on. It's kind of small.
Um,
Oh, yeah, that's better.
yeah.
Good.
Okay, so I can just go to the sections that are new. Included the information from Lindsay and Jackie, specifically around the passages to better reflect our housing law. I appreciate that they provided it in this like same format that we've been using throughout the report. So it's just sort of highlighting the actual parts that are changed and giving sort of a narrative version of each one. And I don't know if all of these like have specifically been discussed in for the whole group yet.
We're discussing.
We
Oh,
discussed
okay.
it in the previous meeting. I don't know. Do you want to go through it how many are there? Are there a lot of them?
It's like 8 or yeah. So removing paragraphs 2 and 3 from this. So changing the section on affordable housing should be rented or sold to and occupied only by eligible households as delineated by state regulation, instead of sort of providing a summary of the state regulation here. And then there was just sort of removing this redundant sentence at the end of this section here. And then, yeah, criteria already determined by funding source in this one. And then there was a discriminatory bit about households not currently owning a home, which I don't think we are legally allowed to do.
Right.
Changing housing authority to housing agency, and then replacing families with households throughout. And
Yeah, I mean, just for benefit of everybody in the room, there was a lot of stuff in here that's determined by the funding agency, so it doesn't make sense for us to repeat it in the zoning, especially since it could change from the funding agency, and then our zoning would be in conflict, and that didn't make a lot of sense. So it's just kind of
we tried to peel back the language to refer to the state regulations so that it stays current, that we don't have to change it every time they change theirs, you know?
Every time, yeah.
Yeah, it's like just, it is what the state regulation says or the funding source says, we'll comply with it.
So yeah, I think that all those are pretty straightforward. I'll probably expand a little bit on the beginning part in the updated draft. And then I'll include like these narrative changes in the final summary list that we have at the end. I think the only other update was the fair housing or the community character piece. So Jana, I don't know if you want to speak to that, or I mean, it's basically the same thing with just that initial section truncated a little bit.
Yeah, I just flip-flopped it a little bit from the way it was written before to just talk about that it's not defined and that it's, you know, it's not fair to ask the volunteer boards to define it if we don't define it in the zoning, so we're striking it. And then did mention the citation about neighborhood defenders, but I softened it a little bit, so it was not quite as aggressive, yeah. And then it just goes into the chart. I didn't realize, Kyan, that you had only sent that copy to me. I apologize. I didn't read it carefully.
Yeah, I mean, it was literally
I like
30
it wasn't
minutes
going to
ago.
the whole
I've
group.
sort of been scrambling to do these today, so.
It's fine. We knew that we gave ourselves extra time, right? We have
Yeah.
until I will forward this to all of you right now, though. Just not easy to do for
I'm thinking the parts that still need to be fleshed out are finalizing the multifamily plan development, which I did get an answer for, and like we finalized in the notes from the last meeting. So I'll have that section filled out.
Oh, that's not working.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the executive summary, and the forward letter, again, this just being something like reiterating that zoning has become one of the primary strategies identified for addressing the housing crisis, both in the short and long term, that it's our wish list. We don't necessarily expect all of it to be passed as is, but this is in line with recommendations made by the Housing Production Plan and by outside government agencies and experts. And then also we look forward to taking part in this process and collaborating ongoing with the city and planning board. And then I think just need to finish the parts on community concerns related to school enrollment and traffic congestion, which I have the information for. I just need to like put it in here and make it sound good. And then yeah, all the final conclusion that I mentioned before just needs to be finished up. But overall, I think that this is well within my ability to get this done before our next meeting, or to get a draft version of the rest of this done for our next meeting.
Do you need anything from? Are you missing any pieces from us? Like, do you need anything else from any of us?
I mean, any additional input, but I think I have what I need to like finish up what's here. And then I think at the next meeting, if we want to like bring more edits, or I'll try to send a copy a little bit ahead of time so we can like maybe come to the meeting with edits. But yeah.
Did we come to a final decision on recommendations on parking? That was something we were-
We did. Kyan, can you go back to the parking part one?
Yeah.
Made a final recommendation on that. What was the final recommendation? 1.5 spaces.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where, yeah, we want to,
And to eliminate the line that separates multifamily dwelling from multifamily dwelling with 15% affordable units. Just combine them.
right, just, it would just be 1.5 spaces per unit. This may be reduced to an average of 1 based on the unit mix and project location.
Yeah. So both of these would just become the bottom.
No, that was my part. That was, I remember. I don't know what y'all did.
All your visions. Right.
I see that there's some blue.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. The blue is just highlighting that that still needs to be finished.
When it says residential, I thought it said Rothschild because it's the same
Okay.
length as my name and I can recognize my name probably. But not really, obviously.
Trying to send it to all of you and it's telling me, oh. There it goes. Okay. Okay. I don't know that we got clarity on the process. Remember last time we talked a whole bunch about what was the process. Connie, are you with us? Counselor Denham?
Yes.
Did
Sorry,
you
you're
happen,
gonna hear the drum line behind me. I apologize.
did you happen to talk to Dylan about clarifying, does it go to council first or it goes to planning board first?
Yeah, so I spoke to President Gomez and he said it would come to us first. We would have, we would look at it and then we would send it on to planning.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yep.
All right, so that would be what we would do. We would have it,
Mhm.
Counselor Denham would introduce it at city council. We would speak about it and then council would send it to planning or send it to ordinance. What's the subcommittee that this would go? to?
Ordinance.
Ordinance, yeah.
I think, do we also need to clarify, is the memo enough, or do we need like a track changes version of the bylaw?
I think we need a track changes version of the bylaw.
Yes.
Yes. Have to make it as easy as possible for them. So
Well,
we,
yeah, just you're gonna say we accept this version of.
right,
you know,
and or they could not accept.
Or not.
Right.
Does it also have to go to the zoning board of appeals at some point? Because the city council sets the regulations.
I think city council and planning board, there would be a joint hearing of the city council and the planning board.
I think that's partly a state requirement too. The planning board has to review zoning amendments.
So I do not think it goes to zoning board.
Okay.
Zoning board has like a very strange,
Yeah, it's kind of a misnomer. They don't.
yeah, it's very strange role. And what they do and don't do. Okay. I think it looks great, Kayam. You've done an amazing amount of work on this
You
document.
have, we appreciate it.
Yeah, great. Yeah, sorry I couldn't be there. I had a meeting with students and I just couldn't get there in time, so I apologize.
No problem. All right, so our plan then would be to have it, this is what we talked about last time. Our next meeting is scheduled for October 24th, and I think there were some conflicts with October 24th. Looking at you. So do we want to, because we will need to have a quorum at that meeting in order to just like vote to approve the entire document before we move forward. So do we want to, I guess everybody should look at their calendar about October 24th, and do we need to move the meeting?
I wouldn't be able to be there, not that I'm a part of quorum, but I'm just letting you know, I wouldn't be able to be there until this meeting ends at 6:30. So if you were able to move it back, or if you could move it to a Tuesday, that might be possible for me to be there.
I'm available on the 24th or the 22nd.
Me
right
too.
now.
Are you available on the 22nd, Shira, or are you gone that whole week?
I'm gone that whole week, 22nd.
I could do the 31st as well.
That's Halloween.
Oh, yeah, no, sorry. Or Tuesday of that week, the 29th.
Trying to figure out if I can remote in.
No,
From are you on a cruise? or
cruise,
something?
no. Even if you think it's a good idea now, whatever you're in the middle of then, you're not gonna want to do.
Want to talk? I mean, not that I want to meet without you, but we have to have a quorum. We don't have to have everybody here.
I can be both of those days.
I can also do the 22nd.
If we did the 20, can you do no
I work
Tuesdays?
until 8 PM on Tuesdays.
Well, then why don't we keep it on the 24th?
Mhm.
And Counselor Denham, you could always join us a little bit later.
Yep.
And Kayam, if you send the document out to us at least the day before, then we would all be able to look at it before the meeting and come with our final comments.
Yeah, and I'm hoping well before a day before, like hopefully the Friday before.
Okay. Well, I'm just trying to give you, as much time. Okay.
That would be great, Kyan.
And then everybody has a chance to look at it before the meeting.
Yeah.
And then, if he sent it the Friday before, you could maybe look at it, Shira.
Yeah, I'll have email.
As a reminder to everyone, if you have comments to Kayam, only send them to Kayam
Before you got it. Your cruise.
or bring them to the
Protect your
meeting, but we
vacation.
can't deliberate in an email. So any comments have to go to him
I mean,
directly.
it's a work cruise.
Work cruise.
They were like, would you like to do this work at MGM Springfield or on a cruise ship? So it's like, I'm gonna go cruise ship. on that. It was a tough call, but.
I don't think we have anything else on our agenda. We do not. All right. I think if we're all good with that plan, ready on the 24th to have reviewed the document and hopefully we'll get it approved and then we can move to city council in November.
So you just sent out Kayam's most recent version, is that
Yes.
correct? All right, cool.
I just did.
I'll share it again.
And Janet, did you share that with me also? Or
I
can you share
did.
that with me? Okay,
I did.
perfect. Okay. Sorry, I'm trying not to look at my phone while I drive.
That's fine. Please don't. It's fine.
Yeah.
Yes, I did send it to all of you. All right. Well, I'm fine with a shorter meeting. We have a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Right, it is 6:45 and we're going to adjourn the meeting. I'm going to stop the recording.
This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.